Morning, everybody. Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Don't get too excited about it being Taco Tuesday. Um, we got Jerome Powell this afternoon. I've seen two different times. I've seen 12 o'clock noon. I've seen 12:40 in the afternoon. But he is due to be speaking today, middle of the day. There is no indication as to whether or not he's going to be making any comments about the economy or interest rates or anything. All that it is that he is scheduled to speak today at 12 o'clock. So, for that specific reason, it is a very cautious trading session in the morning for anybody who does not have day trades if you are going to be taking any of the spreads. Because very easily, two things can come out that he says, and your position needs to be adjusted, moved, closed, gone in the completely other direction. So if you don't have a day trade and you're doing credit spreads today, sit back and do nothing until after lunch. Highlighting that, we have closed red 2 days in a row. Not that it is anything out of the ordinary or absurd, but we had three red closes in a row is the longest streak that we've had this year. Now, I can go back up. I can show you four where we had that big drop there in December. Point being, we've had 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over here in early part of December. Again, after we've come off of that big 4,100, after we've come off very big spots like we had that 41.95 back last week. So we're obviously going to get a green session here, either in the today session or the tomorrow session. So again, caution as it goes into the spreads. As for the spreads, yesterday, fantastic. The edges, a little bit too far away. That's why we have our charts. Very aggressive with what I was pointing out with the 41.40, 41.35s. We had a early morning session entry of $1.50 or better. Got some private messages of people that were getting $1.60. I was saying take the money when it got down to 30, middle of the morning, and it was a smart thing to do because later in the afternoon, as we got through lunch, it was back at $1.50, $1.60. And as I showed there at the end of the day, which for very obvious reasons, it had already closed full credit because we closed below 41.35. But yeah, end of the day, just so you know, you have it here if you want to take it off. If you don't have any of those PDT issues, you can get out of the trade. So again, today, pretty busy early morning over here, but everything kind of slows down. You got international trade, which is not that important later in the morning prior to the open. Then Fed Powell. Fed Powell speaking here at 12 o'clock is what's scheduled. And then you've obviously got here Fed's bar. Again, not a big one. The big one is going to be Powell. So again, just caution. But if you're not in the spread room, I highly recommend you either join it on your own, go into your channels and hit plus, add a channel, or search the channels or private message me and come in. Here's how we rolled through this and going straight through. It was a great day sticking with that one trade, that 41.40, 41.35, and only because we've got the chart, which can agree because of the way that my drawings are and where they're at. Bringing you over here onto the ES, we're up 4 points. We are dead flat. This thing has been dead flat since prior to the open yesterday. Showing you a 5-day here just so you can see the wider version. Because again, once we break down below that 4100 over on the futures, especially this 4090 area, we definitely know that we've got a confirmation headed. And I'll bring you here onto the SPX before I change this. Again, we got number one. Number two is going to be that 4070, which is also, come on, Mousy. Mousy. It's Tuesday. You still want to work. 4070. 4070 is the February open. So again, we get down to that 4070 area and pressure on that 4065. We're already going to be red for the month of February, which could accelerate what we're expecting to look for with our full moon party to further downside and to last week's lows. So again, NASDAQ dead flat. Dead flat over here on the NASDAQ futures. Just bring it here into today. I remove these studies because you got the 200 and everything down there. And yeah, looking just here, we're dead flat. We're not even 150 point range on the NASDAQ. Dead flat. We've still got a lot of time left between today, tomorrow, later in the week as we get into the progress on this. And again, here on SPY, your first indication that we are going to be pressuring down on SPY in the QQQ or SPY and SPX, that 407 and 4070 is when QQQ breaks back down below that 300, fills that gap, starts to pressure that 296.50. Then we've obviously got ourselves something going. So, yeah, that 408 has still held as of yesterday. The next drop down that we're looking for is somewhere around 405, 406. Sorry, 406. We see SPY down there at 406. It's time to start considering scaling off of some of our further dated puts because, number one, we've made it a little bit more than 100 points, or sorry, more than 10 points after we break down 408 over on the SPY, but we're also closely monitoring our wider time frames, which, as I was showing yesterday or discussing yesterday, where are you? Here you are. Yeah, the SPX and the NDX 60-minute time frames. The NDX got oversold. The SPX did not get oversold. It did come down there and touch into it, but nothing out of the ordinary that was saying that, yes, we've definitely got to get out of this trade. We're definitely going to be heading back up for a bounce. So right now, just a little bit of sidewaysness and wait for Powell, wait for Powell, wait for Powell. Let Powell do his thing. Got plenty of time in the afternoon to go and get into a trade. Have a great morning.